a man gets in with his children. The kids are screaming, running up and down the aisle. And it's bothering everyone on the train. And this man, their father, is just sitting there, eyes closed, doing absolutely nothing. You're getting more frustrated by the second. Finally, you turn to him and you say, "Sir, could you please control your children?" And the man opens his eyes, looks at you slowly, and says, "You're right. I'm sorry. They just came from the hospital. Their mother, my wife, died about an hour ago. I don't know what to think, and I guess they don't know how to handle it either." In one sentence, your entire reality changed. Same situation, same children, same noise, completely different world. Stephen Covey calls this a paradigm shift, and he says that almost every real lasting change in a human being's life starts with one: character with personality. This book has been sold over 40 million copies since 1989. It has been read by presidents, CEOs, athletes, and teachers. And the reason it has endured for over 3 decades while other self-help books have faded is simple. Covey is not selling you a technique. He is not giving you a hack. He is calling you to build character. And character, unlike technique, does not fade when motivation runs low. Covey studied 200 years of American success literature, books, essays, self-improvement guides, and he found a disturbing shift. For the first 150 years, all the great literature on success was built on what he called the character ethic: integrity, courage, humility, patience. These were seen as the foundations of effective living. But in the last 50 years of his study, something changed. Success literature shifted to what he called the personality ethic: positive mental attitude and social skills, techniques, image management, how to make people like you in 10 easy steps. If I try to use human influence strategies to get other people to do what I want, while my character is flawed, I will fail. You can learn every networking trick, every communication technique, every productivity system, but if the foundation of your character is weak, people will feel it. They will sense the manipulation underneath the polish, and they will not trust you. Covey says, real effectiveness is not a technique. It is an expression of who you actually are. Covey structures the 7 habits in 2 movements. He calls the first 3 habits the private victory, becoming independent. The next 3 are the public victory, becoming interdependent. The 7th habit ties everything together. Habit 1, be proactive. And this is not the hustle culture version of proactive, where you just move faster. Covey is making a philosophical claim. He says between Every stimulus and every response, there is a space, and in that space lives your freedom, your ability to choose. Viktor Frankl discovered this inside a Nazi concentration camp. They could take everything from him, but they could not take his freedom to choose his response. Proactive people act from values. Reactive people act from feelings, circumstances, and other people's moods. Every time you hear yourself say, I can't, or I have to, that is reactive language. Proactive language says, I choose, I will, I prefer. Small words and enormous difference. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Covey asks you to do something uncomfortable. Imagine your own funeral. 4 people are going to speak. Your spouse, one of your children, a friend, and a colleague from work. What do you want each of them to say? Not what do you hope they all be able to say. What do you want them to say? That gap between what you want said and how you are actually living right now, that is your mission. Everything you do should be measured against that vision. Most people spend their whole life climbing the ladder of success and reach the top only to realize the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. Habit 3. Put first thing first. Covey gives you famous metrics, 4 quadrants based on urgency and importance. Most people spend their day in quadrant 1, urgent and important. The crisis zone, where is firefighting, deadlines, screaming inbox. The truly effective people spend most of their time in quadrant 2, not urgent but important. Planning, relationships, health, personal development. Nobody is demanding quadrant 2 from you, so it never gets done until eventually it becomes quadrant 1, and then it becomes a crisis. Habit 4, 5, and 6. Public victory. Habit 4. Think win-win. Most of us were raised in a world of competition. For me to win, someone else has to lose. Covey says this is not the only model available to human beings. And it's certainly not the most effective one. Win-win is a completely different paradigm. It says, I want to succeed and I want you to succeed. And I believe both things are possible simultaneously. It requires courage to express your needs clearly and consideration to genuinely listen to theirs. Most conflicts in business and in personal relationships are not resolved because one person lacks the courage to say what they really need, and the other lacks the consideration to really hear it. Habit 5. And this is the one that will change every relationship you have starting tomorrow. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Most people do not listen to understand. They listen to reply. While you are talking, they are composing their response. They are waiting for you to finish so they can say what they already decided to say. Covey calls this autobiographical listening, filtering everything you hear through your own experience and agenda. He proposes empathetic listening instead, listening with the intent to truly understand, the other person's frame of reference, feelings, and meaning. When someone genuinely feels heard and understood, they become infinitely more open. They lower their defenses, and only then are they ready to hear you. The order matters completely. Habit 6. Synergize. Covey says the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Two minds working in genuine openness and trust create something neither could create alone. This is not compromise where both people get less than they wanted. Synergy finds a third alternative, one that neither people could have imagined individually. The key is valuing differences. The strength of a team is not in similarity. It's in the it's in the creative tension between the different ways of seeing the same problem. Habit 7. Sharpen the saw. The seventh habit is called Sharpen the Saw. Covey tells a story of a man is frantically sawing a tree. You ask him how long he's been at it. He says 5 hours, and he is exhausted and you suggest him to stop and sharpen the saw. He says he doesn't have time to stop. He's too busy sewing. We laugh at this story, and then we go back to our 70-hour work weeks, our 4-hour nights of sleep, our skipped vacations, our ignored relationships, our unfed minds, and we do exactly the same thing. We are too busy producing to invest in our own capacity to produce. You have to decide what your highest priorities are and have the courage to say no to other things. Covey identifies 4 dimensions of renewal: physical, taking care of the machine that carries you; mental, feeding your mind; reading, thinking, learning; social and emotional, building and maintaining real relationships; the spiritual, clarifying your values and your sense of purpose. If you neglect any one of those for long enough, eventually every other habit in this list falls apart because they all run on the same fuel, you. Here's what I want you to take from this video today. Not 7 habits, just one question, the funeral question. Who do you want to be as described by the person who matters most to you? Write it down, and if you find this helpful, just smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye. See you next time.